Hello, good morning. It is Friday. I don't know what date we're on. Friday the 25th of August. I have got a show on Monday. Yeah, I'm going to pretend that today is the last day before the show because I'm not sure if I'm going to want to kind of have some chill days this weekend. I don't know. Oh, and I've got a fly. Yeah, I'm sort of starting to get a little bit jittery about the to-do list and being packed and stuff like that. So I've decided, today I'm just gonna sort of just try and be as ready as possible, and then if anything else happens in the next 2 days, great. If not, then at least we're sorted. So yeah, I've written my list. I've got a to-do list and a packing list. I am nearly ready to stop production mode. The only thing that I'm tempted to make still is 2 skeins, so 100 grams of my sort of lofty 2-ply. That would be great for making a hat with, because I'm kind of using a particular fleece this weekend, or on Monday, as a bit of a showcase demo piece. So because the fleece that I've got is from that area. Right, hang on, let me start the other way around. So the show on Monday is the Hope Show in the Hope Valley, which is about 15-20 minutes away from where I live. It's a big country show. There'll be sheep, there'll be all sorts of country show things. Don't know, I've never been to it, but I've sort of seen stuff online. And I collected some fleeces from a smallholder who lives down the road basically from this Hope Show, and I collected whiteface woodland fleeces. And I believe that they were kind of they originated from the Hope Valley. So it just feels perfect that that's the kind of the fleece that I'm kind of demonstrating with, and got some stuff basically to sell. And I don't really have a lot of yarn yet of that because I've only recently started processing it. So I thought it would be silly not to have just enough yarn for somebody to make a hat. Just 2 skeins. It would be great to have more, but I'm just being realistic. So I just want to make that. And then the only other thing that I might try and make is some yarn using Teeswater, because every time I have the Teeswater locks at a show, people want to know, where's the handspun? And basically it sold out my first show, and I haven't really, I've restocked it once, but I really should prioritise restocking it, because it always I think it just looks so different to anything else that anyone, what you normally see. So I might try and do that. But I think because the studio is a little bit of a mess, I think what I might try and do is have a tidy up first and tick off some of the easy stuff, some of the quick wins, so that my to-do list and my packing list, if it could just go in half, I think I'd feel more relaxed. And then kind of as a reward for that, then sit down and do some spinning. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So yeah, I thought I'd take you along today, kind of show you what goes into kind of the sort of day before prep for a show. And then I'll also take you along at the show. It's the first one that I'll be doing by myself, where my partner won't be there to support me. So that's a bit nerve-wracking. But yeah, it should be good. And then we'll have a little debrief afterwards, I thought. So yeah, right, let's do some sorting out. And yeah, I'll sort of bring you along with what I think might be interesting. Okay. So I've just been having a little play with how I sort of display and package my washed wool. So I've been using these baskets for the last couple of shows. They're sort of fairly deep wire baskets, and I had just been sticking like, it all just loose like this. But then I also kind of want to have like prepared bags. So like these 2 bags here are both 50 grams each of the same wool. And it's kind of, it feels good to have bags like pre-weighed, so that people can just grab and go. But it always then comes down to space. So I'm kind of curious to see that I can actually fit 2 bags like at the back effectively, like that. And then I tried to have little sample bits, so like there's a bit of a sample card of it spun up. And then I've also, now that I've got the drum carder, I thought I would just show it as roving as well. You can kind of see what it looks like when it's prepared. So I attempted to try that, and then what I then do is sort of have a card, a label, hanging in front. Yeah, so I think that might be what I give. That might be what I try on Monday. I don't think I'm going to be selling loads of washed wool, because I'm really not sure how many like crafters there are going to be. But I do think it still makes a nice talking point and sort of education point. Like people like to come over, and I sort of then stack like 4 or 5 baskets all next to each other of all of like different fleeces. So people can kind of see, sort of compare, and I think people underestimate how different fleeces are. So I think what I might just do is just go through what wool I've got prepared, and just make sure that I've got enough and kind of stack them out, and then I'll then work out what labels are missing. So like I've not had Ryland before, so I'll need to make a label up for the Ryland. So yeah, I think I'll do a run through of that now. Right, I've decided which fleeces it is then. I'm not going to bother like getting everything out of the bag and doing this for all of them, because I know what that looks like, and also this is much easier to transport them when they're in their sacks. So I just thought I'd give you a little run through. So we have got the Jacob's Cross from Green Oaks. Look at this, it's the best stuff apparently. This is like the stuff that I picked out first from the fleece and I get most excited about. So yeah, I'm bringing the best of this. So I've got 386 grams of that, so that's good. Then we've got the Ryland that you've just seen. So that's all I've got, I think, of the Ryland ready. Then we've got the white-faced woodland. So that's the one I was talking about before, where it's come from the Hope Valley. So we've got 223 grams there. And then I've got like a bit of stuff in this bag as well that I just need to decide. It's like the stuff when I first processed it. Not sure I washed it as well as I want to. So I just need to check that and see if I want to put it in with this stuff or not. And then the last one is the Jacobs. So this is another one from Derbyshire. So I've got a good mix there of colours from the fleece. So I've got quite a lot of that. Don't think it's 390 because I've taken some out, but it should be enough. And then the last one then is the Teeswater that I was just telling you about. I might not take this whole bag. I've actually got over 1 kilo of this fibre, so I'm not sure I'll take the whole sack. But I suppose if I don't take it, then I've got to divide it, and maybe that's more silly. So yeah, I've got 5 baskets, 5 different fleeces, and these are the kind of ones that I've prioritised that sort of felt relevant to this show, sort of trying to stick with fibres that were grown in Peak District, apart from Star's from Cheshire. Everything else is from the Peak District from Derbyshire. I decided with regards to the signage, I need some new ones because, as I say, I haven't sold two of these, only one of these fleeces. It's just the Ryland that hasn't sold before. But I think I'm going to try a different price. This feels a bit gross talking about on YouTube. But yeah, I have been selling at £5 for 50 grams, which I know is a lot, but that was kind of to reflect like how much time it's taken me to wash wool. But I did another like time check the other day, and I think I can probably put it down to £4. I know it's still a lot more than a lot of people, but I mean this is small batch production. You know, each fleece, I am rolling out the fleece, I am sitting there, I am picking through, it's just me, and then I'm, you know, really carefully grading it to pick out different areas of the fleece that kind of make sense together, and then washing it and, you know, putting all of that kind of attention to detail into it, which you might not get if the stuff had kind of gone through a mill. You know, it's kind of, well, it could go either way, couldn't it? They are either putting in more stuff that I would take out, or they're not putting in as much stuff and therefore they've got more waste. So anyway, it's, yeah, you decide really where you want to spend your money. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to handwrite the labels, I think, because I don't know if I'm going to change the price again. So I think I'll just write out 5 new labels for these guys with new prices. The tees was more expensive because that was a proper fibre sheep, so I spent a lot of money just on the fibre, whereas I tend to not really include the cost of fibre into my pricing, because a lot of the time I'm spending, you know, between £5 and £10 for a fleece. Well, when you actually boil that down then to a 50 grams, it's kind of, I don't know, 10p or something, depending on how much fibre you get. So yeah, that bit doesn't actually go into the costing, it's just my time. Right, I need to now tidy this away and see what else is on the list. I'm definitely at the it has to get worse before it can get better stage. Oh god. Yeah, I just thought I'll take everything off the shelves that needs to come with me so that I can, like, I don't know, make sure I don't miss anything. But now I've given myself like this much floor space to work with. So yeah, maybe I need to start stacking some stuff in the hallway. Yeah. Right, I have managed to sort out the boxes. Those ones. So that's feeling like it makes a bit more sense now. I've got a tiny bit more space. I was then sort of like looking, okay, what else is on the list? And I thought I only needed to like label up, what's that, 5 skeins of yarn. Then I found I've got 2 things still in the bobbin that haven't even been like taken off and washed. So we need to do that. We've got 5 bats that need labelling, and then I remembered that I hadn't actually labelled a load of stuff in the boxes. So let me just turn you around. So I keep all my yarns in two boxes right now. So we've got the singles and then we've got the 2 plies. And I forgot that this little pile I just like dumped in the box without labelling properly, so I'd kind of just stuck any old bits on it. I think because I thought I was going to be possibly weaving with them. But yeah, I mean, they may as well go available for sale. So yeah, we've got another 6 skeins there. These 2 chunky boys are actually like 2 or 3 skeins smushed together, which I'm tempted to sell as is, because like I think sometimes it's hard with my handspun to know like what's the same, you know, because like, well, maybe this is easy, but like these two yarns are different. They're the same, from the same fleece, but they're spun very differently. But maybe it's not easy to see that at like first glance when there's like loads of skeins. So I'm not sure whether to just bundle this together. This is 143 grams. So I'm not sure whether to just, sell it as a complete thing of 143. Even though that's probably then going to cost like, I don't know, maybe £30, 35 or something. That's what I need to do next. Which is my least favourite job. I feel like I haven't got a system yet properly for my pricing. I've kind of got like rules that I've been following and kind of like what have I done in the past. But yeah, I think the job now really is to label all of this, which probably starts with printing more labels. Or lunch. Might start with lunch. Let's see. I just thought I'd show you how I do my labels. So I make it all in Adobe Illustrator. I kind of, worked out I can get 8 labels per sheet. So like this is side 1, and then like I've got different side 2s. So this is for handspun wool. This one's for washed wool, although I think I'm going to take out washed wool and just leave it blank so that I can use the same bits of card then for washed wool and bats. So yeah, at the minute I just print these as I go and sort of try to have a few spares. So yeah, I'm just going to do a bit more printing, hopefully have enough for everything I need. All done, and I only messed up once. Sometimes I kind of just forget the numbers that I'm supposed to use on this. I was just laughing to myself that like for some people this kind of job would just be like, no thanks. But I really like it. I think there's something about just doing really like simple repetitive tasks that just calms me back down again. I remember like when Matt started his business, I'm in his office, his studio, and we had to do orders for that. I used to love it. I just used to just be like, oh my god, is this what you get to do when you like have a business? Like you just get to pack orders every day. Like, I don't know. I just kind of like those kinds of those kind of jobs. Right, back to the bit that I don't like, which is now measuring all of the yarn and deciding how much to price it. Right, okay, I'm going to try and use you as a sounding board to help me out here. So, the reason I struggle with pricing is because I spin so many different weights of yarn. If I spin something that's like super duper chunky and like with a lot of twist in it, then like effectively that 50 grams of yarn didn't take me that long to actually spin. Like, it's not a high meterage. So in terms of the time it actually takes to pass through my hands as it spins is quite short. So for me, a super chunky single kind of is the cheapest yarn because of the amount of time has gone into it. As I said before about the washed wool, like the price of the wool almost doesn't matter. Again, it's only the Teeswater that I price differently because of the sort of the price of that fleece. So I'm just now staring. At one point I created a database where I put in, I don't know, maybe about 30 skeins as I made them, so I could record and calculate the pricing and try and come up with some rules. But yeah, it sort of seems like those 2 skeins that you just saw me label, and thank God I'd already like done all the measurements, so I'll show you how I do the measurements in a minute, but on these, I mean, even these 2 aren't really, what are they? Yeah, they're similar-ish in terms of like meterage. So one's 110 meters per 100 gram and the other one's 123, which for me kind of puts it in chunky kind of thing. But this isn't really knitting yarn, this is more weaving yarn. So it all gets complicated. So what I'm doing is I'm looking back at yarn that's very similar, and I'm starting with Jacobs because I feel like, yeah, I must have had some rationale at the time. So like this one is very similar meterage, so this is 113 meters per 100 grams, and I put that through on a £14 per 50 grams, which I think is probably about right. Like most of my prices for yarn, I feel like this is, again, I just find it really awkward talking about numbers, but I kind of want to be transparent and sort of also have maybe a bit of a conversation about it. Yeah, I think the cheapest I've got is what, £23 per 100 grams, and the most expensive is 30. I'm very reluctant to go above £30 per 100 grams, mainly because I personally don't think I would ever spend that, like higher than that. So yeah, okay, I think we just need to do it. So basically we're calling these 2 yarns chunkies. I've previously charged £28 per 100 grams. So that's what we're going to do. So we just need to do some maths because obviously these, not obviously, but I price per the actual weight of the skein. Because this is all hand spun, each skein has been spun. You know, it's not like, you know, it's not like a kilo of yarn that's come off a cone that I've then split. Like, this is actually just, I made this as a single thing. So yeah, those 2 are actually quite small. They're both 34 grams. So yeah, just do the little bit of maths and then I can add the prices to it. And then I think whilst I'm here, what I'm going to do is like per breed, I'm then going to go through and I use Zettel as my point of sale. So I'm just going to go through then and make sure that whatever, like everything's in Zettel basically, and then I'll be sorted. So yeah, this is the job that I put off. But as I say, as soon as I like could actually figure out how I want to, like what my rules are for pricing and sort of feel happy with it, then it shouldn't be that bad, should it? Right, let's crack on and get these Jacobs done.
these two are a good example where they're both Jacobs. They're actually two different fleeces, but from the same farm. So this is Tinker and this is Sarah. They're both 55 grams, but this one comes out at more of a kind of, that's like a bit higher twist, more dense, so it's kind of more chunky, super chunky, whereas this one is 218 meters per 100 grams. It's spun a lot softer and a lot kind of, less dense, less twist. So I'm calling that more like a DK weight. So as I say, they're the same grams, they're both 55 grams, but because of the weight difference, I've got £1 difference on the price of the two skeins. So this one is my example of where it's a bit more expensive. So this is a £30 per 100 gram spin. So yeah, I really don't like this stuff at all. This one's pretty wild. I think whoever, God, it just looks like a black hole, doesn't it? Like, whoever ends up buying this, like, it's going to be exactly what they want, but it's not going to be for everyone. It kind of feels a little bit like human hair, or like, I don't know, like horse hair or something. It is a Valley Blacknose Texel Cross from Dale Cottage Farm, which is another Derbyshire farm. They're amazing. They do a lot of like regenerative agriculture work, so big fan of them guys. And yeah, I got a couple of fleeces from them. A lot of veggie matter, but it's okay. Just we'll take it slowly. But yeah, let me show you what it's like. It's like this really dark chocolate brown with like I don't know, it always sort of looks like it's been like dyed, like over, like black has been over dyed with like an auburny, sometimes purple, like it's sort of just, yeah, a wild colour. But anyway, right, the only measurement I've taken so far of this is the overall weight. So yeah, I think I'll show you how I take my like meterage measurements and stuff like that on this one, I think. And again, I think I have got 2 or 3 skeins. Yeah, 3 skeins. So we'll measure them all separately, and then I convince myself then that that it is safe to treat them as one. Okay, so just to quickly summarise what I've just done is I've weighed the 3 skeins. I've then sort of approximated its like yardage, like how well, like the actual like how many meters there are, by measuring That's why I normally use well, actually, using a proper tape measure is actually quite handy because you can just lay it over the top. But yeah, so I measure the, like, how big a loop is. So it's like how many centimeters is this, by kind of measuring this length times it by 2, which gives you the length of one loop, and then you count the number of strands in your hand, and then you times that together, and then that gives you an approximation about how many meters are actually in this. So I've done that for all 3, and it's pretty close. So it's like 2 of them are like 53 meters per 100 grams, and 1 of them was 58. So I think if I'm going to join them all together, which I think is what I'm going to do, then I'm going to say that it's 55 meters per 100 grams, which is the average then for all of them. I then did my wraps per inch test. So yeah, so the measurements I give on the label is the meterage, how many meters per 100 grams, because I think that then gives you some idea. But what it doesn't tell you is like how much actual space, like what's the diameter of that yarn, because you could have the same meterage. Oh no, I'm gonna get myself muddled. Oh god. Yeah, like you just want to know like how much space is that actually taking up, and so like especially on these types of singles that I've spun, which are like really very dense high twist, like sort of more designed for weaving than knitting, the wraps per inch is actually like a very low number. So I've got this like somewhere between 5 and 7, so I'm going to call it 6. Yeah, I don't know. I try and use this chart from Laughing Hens, which sort of tries to lay out like what different meterage, like how to classify it. But the problem is that these kind of only really tend to apply for like more lofty knitting yarns rather than these kind of really high density singles like designed for weaving. So I don't know, that's why I don't really like to put on the label, oh this is DK, because it's like it depends. So yeah, they're the 2 things that I put on, meterage and then wraps per inch. This is my wrap per inch tool. It's literally a bit of dowel with some tape with a gap that is 1 inch. And again, like this is so imperfect. It's not great, because it depends on how tightly you wind your yarn around it, how tightly you pack it, like are you stretching it, sorry that's what I meant by how tightly wound it is, like are you actually stretching the yarn over, how much are you squishing them together. So I try and do something that feels vaguely in the middle. You know, if you took 10 people and asked them to measure it, I'm trying to be somewhere in the middle, whatever that is. So yeah, that's what I do for every skein of yarn. And then it allows me then to say, you know, I then also put on, this is how many grams, this is how many meters approximately. And then it's up to you to decide whether that's the right thing for your project. Right, so we just need to write the label and decide the price. Again, this is one of these, we've gone like super duper chunky, so it kind of allows me to be more around, you know, in the past I've gone 23, 24 pounds per 100 grams. So I'm just going to ponder on that, and we can get this one labelled. That yarn if I did it at £24 per 100 grams, because it's 169 grams, that's like 40 quid. Don't know if I can do it. Oh god. Yeah, even at £23, it's still like £39 worth of yarn. Oh, I think I might be tempted to split it instead and have them as the 3 skeins. It's so hard to know like how people will respond. You know, it's sort of, there's a lot of psychology, isn't there, about like, you know, would somebody buy all 3 skeins if they were separate? If they saw the prices, what would they be? So they'd each be like around £13.50 if I had them as 3 separate. I suppose it at least means that somebody could just buy 2, couldn't they? And then they've got like 110 grams for a project. I'm also wondering whether somebody would want to mix and match, because I've now got quite a few different breeds in super chunky kind of stuff, you know, whether somebody would put those 2 together. And one of the creams. I don't know. Hello, good morning. It is Saturday. Yeah, I haven't done much filming today because I don't know, just had a wave of overwhelm this morning, and it was, yeah, I just can't cope with filming when I'm feeling like that. So anyway, had a meeting with my partner and kind of just, yeah, reprioritised and sort of came up with a plan for today and stuff. And I'm feeling much better. Yeah, I've done a lot more like packing and sorting and like finished most of the like labelling. It's only the skeins that you saw me take to wash last night, which is still just drying, so got to wait for that. I have, oh, and I sorted out my pricing. In the end, I decided to take the time to like plot everything that I had in a spreadsheet, like, and plot it on a graph and sort of see whether there was any pattern and whether there were like anomalies. And there were a few anomalies, mainly stuff that I'd made a while ago that I'd kind of like really undervalued, so those prices have gone up, so we'll see. Hopefully it's well, no, it's fine. I know I've sold skeins at that price, so yeah, so that felt really good, and I feel less overwhelmed now about, like, you know, as I produce more skeins, about actually getting them labelled. And the last thing that I've just done, you can see behind me, is with a little time box, as in like, right, half an hour, just try and get it sorted. I think I've sorted out the loom. So I decided to take off basically half the length of the warp. So it was like 4.5 meters. If you've watched my last couple of videos, you'll know that I was just really struggling with tension. It just felt like it was slipping at the back. And the quickest fix I could think of was to just take off a lot of the length, so that that slippage just couldn't escalate, basically, was the theory. And it feels good, like it doesn't feel like it's slipping. So yeah, I think there's probably about 2.5 meters on it now. So I'm hoping that that's a scarf. Well, that should be a scarf. So I wanted to get it sorted so that I could have it as a demo piece on Monday at the show. So that's where we've got up to. I'll show you. So yeah, so I cut the warp, tied it back on again, sort of done this sort of setup to spread out the warp threads, and it's basically ready to start weaving now. I'm a little bit tempted to just do the very beginning and do the hem stitch, because I don't think I want to do that when I'm thinking about people and sort of being entertaining. But yeah, so this is all of the hand spun that's going to go into it. So this is the Whiteface Woodland. So yeah, I'm really excited to have Whiteface Woodland grown just a few miles away from the venue and showing off its beauty. So yeah, feeling much more prepared now. It is currently sunny outside, so I think we are, hang on. Yeah, so I think we're going to go for a little walk. Both of us have kind of, yeah, not really been doing a great job with our walking recently. So yeah, I think I'm feeling like it's all manageable now. So go for a walk, and then I think later on I'll do that little bit of weaving just to get it going, and then see if I've got that spin in me. If it doesn't happen today, it's not happening, because I won't get it washed and dried in time for Monday. And then it's just about packing the car, basically. I'm worrying about food. I want to make sure that I've got enough like tasty things and snacks to keep me going on Monday. Especially because Matt won't be with me, so I can't like ask him to go and get stuff. I just need to be self-sufficient. So yeah, right. I'll catch up with you later.